Hello, everybody, and welcome to season 2, episode 13 of Career Girl Chats. My name is Anna O, and I am the founder of Career Girl Lifestyle. I'm really excited about this afternoon's chat, y'all, because it's so different from what we typically speak about. Normally, we're talking about career and business and entrepreneurship and just bossing up in general. But today, we are going to take a break from talking about all of those things, and we are going to discuss mental health, specifically women's mental health. If you don't already know, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And so it was really important for me to take the time out of the hustle and bustle of teaching women how to thrive in their careers and really discuss mental health and mental health awareness. So I have a very special guest who is near and dear to my heart, Cam. She is a Chicago-based photographer, creative director, and entrepreneur, but she is also a very special woman in my life. And if you don't know how Career Girl Chat started, it started by me having just a simple conversation with one of my girlfriends. And I was like, girl, we should have these conversations on live because as women, we talk about our highs, especially on social media. We're always discussing, the highlight reels and showing our best selves, but we don't really talk about the lows or the in-between phases. And I want to make Career Girl Chats a place not just to discuss the highs, but definitely the in-betweens and the lows and how we overcame those obstacles. And Cam is definitely a woman who I love to speak to because our conversations are always so candid and they're so therapeutic. It was a no-brainer for who I wanted to have this discussion with. So let me invite her in so we could discuss this topic with you all today. Hey!
How you doing?
You looking all vibrant. You're glowing.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for joining us for Career Girl Chats this afternoon.
You're welcome. Anytime, girl.
Yes. Before we begin this discussion, I do just want to add a disclaimer out there because we are discussing the topic of mental health. Neither Cam or myself are mental health professionals. We are just two women who want to have our candid girl chat that we normally do offline. We wanted to bring that to the Career Girl Chats platform because, as I mentioned, our conversations are always so candid, so therapeutic, and honestly, it's really what a lot of women go through but don't really discuss. So definitely want to put that disclaimer out there.
Yes.
So let's jump right into the discussion. Well, first tell us a little bit about yourself. I gave a brief intro, but let us know, who is Cam?
Okay, my name is Cam. I'm really laid back. I'm just a photographer, who loves capturing moments. At Cam's Best Shot, I'm the creative director and head photographer. And we really just strive to provide people devoted to their crafts with moments that they can be proud of forever and always be able to look back on it and be able to showcase to the world what they do and why they do it and why it makes them happy.
I love that. When did you start prioritizing your mental health?
Probably I would say college. Everything started really getting overwhelming for me because I was taking on a science major and it just between labs and regular classes and online classes and the workload and then still working and managing my personal life and athletics and everything. It was just a lot. It was just too much, and I got to a breaking point probably the end of high school, but it really hit me in college because it was a major shift in the workload and everything.
Okay. And what were some of the initial steps that you took when you realized that your mental health was struggling?
I tried to start pinpointing what would trigger different things for me. I started to get really depressed at a point in college, and I would get panic attacks and anxiety around exams and everything. And so I had a planner every year. Like I've always had a planner for school, but then I actually started using it. Like I would carry it with me to classes, but I got a lot more proactive in writing down all the tasks I had to complete, writing down like when this class was and when I had to have certain like big projects due or big tests due so that I could prepare myself instead of just trying to keep everything inside of my head and actually remember. Like it just started to be too much. So I started writing down everything I needed to remember. I started learning about like meditation and sound frequencies and how they can heal you from a cellular level. And I don't know, I just tried to take in as much information as possible. Honestly, I think that I was doing college and just because I felt like I was supposed to go to college after high school, like my whole like middle school and high school career, it was like drilled into me like you have to go to college. And then once I was actually in it and in college and going between majors and everything, that's when like it occurred to me that I was doing it for all the wrong reasons. You know, I wasn't doing it for myself. I wasn't doing it for my own life. And when I pinpointed that, that gave me like a lot of relief. But then like I also realized what I had gotten myself into, overwhelming myself with everything like that. So yeah, does that
Yeah.
answer your question?
Yes, it definitely does answer my question.
Okay.
So let's talk about therapy because you mentioned therapy.
Yeah.
You said you haven't found a therapist that I guess fit your needs. So can you share your experience that you had with a therapist?
You know what? I definitely can. So, I did get to a point where I actually tried to go to therapy, and in my experience, it just wasn't good. I think it's very important for you to feel comfortable with your therapist, and just to know that if you meet the wrong therapist, it's okay. There's another therapist probably out there who's better suited to your needs. But in my personal experience, the therapist that I had, it wasn't good because I told her something like personal that I was going through. I got so stressed out with school and everything that I had dropped like 30 pounds in like 4.5 weeks. And I was like alarmed because I'm like, okay, now my mental health is like affecting my physical health.
Mm-hmm.
And I just felt weak, like I didn't want to eat, like it was just a lot. And she told me, she like laughed about it and she was like, "Oh girl, you know that's good. Like us women, we love losing weight." And I was like, "I'm concerned about my health. Like that's not funny to me."
Right.
But I'm over it now. But
Yeah.
I really think that traumatized me, and I think that's why I haven't been back to therapy. I'm still like searching for a therapist now, and I'm planning on interviewing my therapist next time I just jump into a
Mm.
session. But I'm happy I went through that experience because I learned from it, you know?
Yeah.
So,
I'm
yeah.
happy you said that because we're always hearing like I'm an advocate for therapy as my well the screen is half and half, but
Yeah.
my shirt says Jesus in therapy. I'm an advocate for
Yes.
therapy. I've done therapy before. Um, and I think it's important what you said. You have to interview your therapist, right?
Yeah.
Because they're individuals just like us. They have, you know, their own experiences just like we do. And we have to be compatible with them
That's so
ultimately,
true.
right? Like every therapist is not compatible with our life experiences. So I think it's really important to find someone who's in alignment with you as an individual and can really help you through your experiences. And,
Definitely.
you know, definitely asking the right questions is very helpful. Um, Next question. When you noticed that you were struggling with your mental health, did you reach out to friends and family members to say, hey, like, I'm going through it right now?
No, you know what? I didn't. And that's just me in general, not just even outside of mental health. I've just always been like an extremely private person. And like, I didn't understand at the time that that's something you should be reaching out to people in your support groups and the people who love you for help. Because even,
Absolutely.
just being around like my loved ones, like, even if they have no idea what I'm going through in my head, like,
Hmm.
I feel better just like being in their vicinity. You know what I'm saying? So,
Hmm.
like, that's a mistake that I made in the past, and still I struggle with it now. Like when I actually need help, like I just struggle asking, like,
Yeah.
and I always have. I don't know why, but yeah,
Yeah.
no, I didn't reach out.
Yeah. I definitely think it's the strong woman thing, you know,
Yeah,
like always wanting to look like we have it all together, you know, wearing
exactly.
the weight of the world on our backs, but
Yeah,
then suffering at the same time, you
definitely.
know? Why, I have a question.
Hmm.
Why wasn't therapy in your initial, um, one of your initial steps when you
That
first
I had.
started struggling? Yeah.
You know what it was? I was so broke, just like from just being a college kid. Like, yeah, I was working, but like it was kind of like I was working paycheck to paycheck, like tip to tip. You know what I'm saying? I bartend, so I don't know. Like, I wanted to see, like, just because I was paying so much in tuition, the first thing I wanted to prioritize was finding the resources that my college already provided. And
Mm,
they had therapy sessions and everything, but I found them. They had like 10 free sessions per semester or something, and I never went. Like, I found the information and then I never went. Like, at the
mm,
time, I was so back and forth with myself in my own head. Like, I would find certain information, but like I was lacking the execution. And now
right.
I'm trying to get better at actually following through. Like, okay, cool. I found this therapist. Now let me actually set up an interview with them, or let me actually call the number to try to book an appointment. Like,
Yeah.
that's where I'm at now. But
Yeah. Absolutely.
yeah,
What are some questions? Because you said you're going to interview your therapist, as I mentioned. I think that's a great idea. Well,
thank you.
prospective therapist. What kind of questions are you going to ask,
The
your
first question
potential
that I
next
would ask
therapist?
the therapist, yeah, I would ask them if they went through therapy. Just because, like, I just feel like people who have went through something, like, I don't know, when they can relate to you on that level, I feel like I'll be more comfortable opening up to them if, like, I feel like I can relate to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Only 20% of people who struggle with their mental health seek professional help, while 80% keep it to themselves. So, what is your advice for the women who are suffering in silence?
My advice would be to just at least find one person, whether that's, a family member, a friend, a teacher, a professor. I don't know. I feel like mental health starts younger and younger now just because of all the pressure social media puts on you to be like an overnight success or like this person or that person. There's so many talented people out there, but they some people fail to realize, like, the best part of life is just being the best version of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's easy to get lost in that. So I would definitely tell them to reach out to somebody who could remind them of that at least, and
Yes.
someone who would encourage them to stay on their path to trying to get help.
Let's talk about the inner healing work, right? Because when we think of healing, where like social media has it where it's like bubble baths and candles and it's just this beautiful blissful journey, but we all know that the healing work, it's uncomfortable, right? It does
Right.
not feel good.
It does.
So can you talk to us a little bit about your healing journey? Like, what were some of the things that you started to do when you decided that you wanted to take your mental health more seriously?
Probably I tried to look into shadow work. I had heard about it before, but I didn't really understand how to do it myself. And so more recently, I found a book online. I don't remember the title of it. I'll send it over to you later when I find the link. But it's just like they have workbooks online that you can order, just even like on Amazon and stuff like that. And they help you. They ask you like a series of questions to help you work through it yourself.
And what is shadow work and how does it relate to mental health?
Shadow work really just helps you to get in tune with your inner child. A lot of the things like traumas that we deal with as adults is problems that we would never dealt with as a child. And so it's just been piling up, it's piling up. So that helps you like break down those walls, I guess, that you've created within yourself to protect yourself. And
Mm-hmm.
it helps people who've developed like a flight or fight, what I can't talk,
Mm-hmm.
a sense of like dealing with life, and it
Mm-hmm.
helps you work through that and helps you to actually deal with your problems instead of just holding them all in and like not expressing yourself.
Hmm. So let's talk about relationships, right? Because I think a major part of a mental health journey is really making sure that you have the right people around you and the right energies around you.
That's so true.
So, in your experience, in your mental health journey, how did your relationships with your loved ones transform? And what boundaries did you have to set, if any at all, with your loved ones?
Um, Me personally, I had to just realize like the type of people that I was hanging around. I really feel like energy is transferable, and a lot of times I would find myself having problems, and I wouldn't even understand where they come from because they weren't problems that I was personally dealing with. And
Mm,
so I just felt like it really was other people's energy. Like, I would bring myself to the table and I would, have a good attitude and everything. But if the people who I were hanging around did not like have the same similar attitude, or if they were just like
mm,
people who walked around upset at the world, I would find myself getting like more of a temper and stuff like that.
yeah.
And so I just really had to like watch my association, and that helped me a lot.
Yes, 100%. Even like, I know for me, like in my journey, even the kind of conversations that I entertain too. Because sometimes it's not even just like being around those people, it's even just talking to them as well. Like the people who want to gossip all the time, the people who, as you mentioned, like they're mad at the world. They don't ever have anything positive to say or share. Everything is just like, as you always say, low vibrational.
Exactly,
So
with
it's
those low
like those
vibrational
type of
vibes.
people,
I hate it.
right? Like those type of people, it's not any beef, it's no hard feelings, but it's just like you're right. Like their energy is super transferable. So it's like I had to really like limit and super distance myself from certain people and certain conversations because it's
Yeah,
contagious and you will find yourself like,
that's a
especially in the
fact.
mornings, like I don't know about you, my mornings are so sacred to me. Like I don't want, like when I wake up in the morning, I just want to be at peace. I want to
Exactly,
breathe. I want to say my affirmations. I want to drink
exactly.
water. I just want to lay in bed,
You want to
chill,
sip your
like
tea.
just
You want to set the
be
tone for the
peaceful,
day.
like.
Exactly.
And so it's like for me, I cannot be around people who their mornings are just like the first
Chaotic.
thing that they want to do is they're yelling or they want to
Right.
gossip or I can't do it.
Yeah, me neither, girl. Me neither. I hate that. Like I wake up at 5:30 every morning, and I'm not even a morning person, just to meditate. So I really know like taking my mental health seriously has changed my life for the better, and I'm just gonna keep going with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, So with that being said, right? Because I always like to talk about the do's, not just the don'ts. So for you, what is a healthy, right? We know what we should keep away from us in our mental health journey, but let's talk about like the kind of people that we do say yes to, you know? So
Definitely.
what does a healthy support system look like to you?
You know what? I really had to ask myself that question because I've always struggled with making friends, like my whole life, from like when I was little in school. And you know, I felt like part of my mental health issues came from being so lonely, and I like, me thinking like, I could do bad by myself. I could do anything by myself, but then like I
Mhm.
put so much pressure on myself, so much weight on my shoulders from doing that. I had to stop because I'm like, I'm going nowhere fast, you know what I'm saying? And so I started just realizing that the healthy habits that I do have and what I like, and I would find people with like interests. And even if like I couldn't call them, my close friend because I'm slow to do that, um, it was just like boom, I love basketball. So like I found like a group of people who I could go play basketball with. Like if I was going through something, I go hoop it out, and I'm good afterwards. Instead of like
Mhm.
holding in all that pent up energy and everything. I love to work out, so I found like some workout buddies. You know what I'm saying? So even if I
Mhm.
didn't have like a lot of close friends, I have like one or two best friends now. But I have a group of people who I can go do certain positive activities with, whether it be yoga or guided meditation, or just really
Yeah.
good stuff, and other people with
Mhm.
like-minded interests. And being around them, I felt actually better than with the friends who I had for so long who were
Yeah.
toxic, because I felt like, oh my gosh, like I just met y'all, but I felt like we should have been friends for so much longer. Like I feel like I
Mhm.
started finding myself, like my place in the world, when I'm
Yeah.
with those type of people. So you just feel
Yeah.
it. You feel different. Your vibration feels higher when you're around the right type of people. And also when you're around the wrong type of people, it's like you instantly feel it because you're like,
Mhm.
oh, like nah, like this is not the vibe. Like this is not it.
Yes, I agree with you. The whole time that you were talking, I was thinking to myself, but you said it. It's the way you feel around them. Like you can feel when, like, when you get off the phone or when you're finished hanging out with people, like the way you walk away feeling says a lot about, that energy that's there, with those
That's
people
so
or
true.
whatever it is. It's just like you do feel the difference. You
Yeah.
you definitely feel the difference. The conversations are different, the activities are different, and just like the energy, it's different.
No, definitely. Yeah, nah, I've always heard that, you might forget what a person says to you, but you'll always remember how they make you feel. So that's real.
Yeah. And I know for me too, like the way that I pick and choose between the people who, I guess I super let in and the ones that I don't is self-awareness. I think
Definitely.
the health like the healthiest people. I mean, we're all on this mental health journey, right? It's not like this one destination that we get to and we're like, boom, we're good now. Like no, we're as long as we're going through life, it's going to be a roller coaster. But for
Definitely.
me, I identify like my support system by the people who are the most self-aware.
Yeah.
Like the people who are accountable, the people who take ownership, the people who understand themselves and have a better understanding of those around them. Especially when you
Definitely.
are an entrepreneur, there's a time I feel like every entrepreneur goes through, or just anyone who has like a goal that they really are laser focused on. There's a time where you kind of have to go into hiding a little bit and get like super duper focused.
That's
And
so
the
true.
people that truly love you and the people who are really there for you, in my opinion, they're going to understand that. They're not going
Definitely.
to take any offense to that. But then there are other people who are like, oh, well, why can't you hang out with us? You
Yeah.
think you're better than us, or like
But
you
then,
don't
like, you
have
got
time for us
boring now. When you
anymore.
start taking your
Yeah,
life
it's like
serious, yeah.
it's just things are received very differently, and so like you said, you really have to pay attention to how people make you feel, but just how they respond to your boundaries.
That's
That's
so true.
another like big factor right there, is how people respond to your
And
boundaries.
that's a red flag if somebody gets upset by the boundaries that you've set for yourself. Like they gotta go. Like they gotta go. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Definitely.
All right, so we spoke about shadow work. You also mentioned physical health, right? And I know
Yeah.
when we talk, you are always advocating for like physical health and mental health working hand in hand. So talk to us a little bit about that and how did that look for you?
You know what, the number one thing I had to get over was like it seems like anytime you're doing something new, you have people in your ear like, oh, like okay, so for example, like I got serious about my workout routine. I'm like, you know what, 2 times a week is not good. So I went up to 6 times a week. Like that's just what I wanted to do. And I had people telling me like, oh, you look good already. And I'm like, that's not the point. Like I'm trying to get better for myself. Like, why
I
not cheer me
know.
on? Like, why not be like, wow, that's great. Like, I'm not
Right.
even begging. I'm not fishing for compliments or anything. I don't need that. But I'm just saying like I don't like how people try to like tear down like your idea and they feel like just because they're doing it in a nice way that it's okay. That's still toxic. Positive toxicity exists. You know what I'm saying? So like you can't allow yourself to fall victim to that. You know what I'm saying? You always got to stay aware about stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, getting over that was the biggest thing. Self sabotage is also like a really real thing too. You know what I'm saying? So you don't need anybody else's help bringing yourself down
Mm-hmm.
or talking yourself
Yeah.
out of doing something new.
Hmm. As far as like working out
Hmm.
and things like that and eating right and like how did like when you started to change your eating habits and your workout habits, like how did you notice you started to feel?
I felt so much better. One of my friends is really good at juicing and everything, so she just started bringing me over like like a mason jar of whatever juice she made, and I just noticed like when people say you really are what you eat, just like meal prepping, I just noticed how like the more like the healthier my lifestyle got, it
Hmm.
just opened new avenues that I didn't even know about, and
Yeah.
I started attracting those people like like my friend who is really good at juicing, or like my friends who are really good at like training or stretching or yoga. Like the more
Hmm.
I get around those type of people, they bring me around even more type of people who encourage like me being physically fit. You just get around the right people, and you just get a wealth of information from these type of people, and
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? It makes you feel good to be around them and to be doing something to better yourself. You know what I'm saying? There's no cap on how good you can make yourself. You should always be trying to progress. You should never be stagnant. And if you feel stagnant, it's okay. You know, you just got to figure out how to shake yourself out of that, or try something new. Like, you know, workout classes or anything. If you sign up for the right gym, they often have like free classes that you can take. And once you take the free classes and they become too basic for you or too easy, then you know you can pay for like trainers or like the more
Yeah.
quarter classes and everything like that. So it's just like a
Yeah.
ripple effect. Once you start, like you just
Yeah.
run with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it definitely, it definitely, they definitely do go hand in hand. When you're moving your body and you're taking care of yourself, it does
Yeah.
trigger something in your brain. There is scientific facts that say this. I
And
don't
the
know
endorphins,
the
you really
correct
feel the endorphins.
terminology or
Yeah.
anything, so I'm not even going to attempt. But I know that there are scientific facts that do say that physical health and mental health, there is a relationship between the two, and the more active you are, the better your mental health is.
That's so true.
And then too, I think it does say a lot about you when you take care of yourself.
It
Because
does.
you're working hard at something, and it's not easy.
It's
So
hard at all.
you're overcoming all of these obstacles, and it's just a good feeling. Honestly, it really is. Like,
It is.
I
And
just did a
you feel
keto.
like you see the difference too. Like, you know, like
Yeah.
if you know, I've experienced like depression before, and like I noticed like I'm just laying in bed all day. I know I have like 10 things I need to get done today, and I don't even try to get the first one done. Like,
Yeah.
so like I don't know, even if you wake up and you having an off day, if you go like, you know, go to the gym for an hour, it just sets the tone for your day, and you're like, okay, you know what? I'm
Mhm.
tired. I might still even be a little bit depressed. You know, it's just one of those days, but I'm at least get two of these tasks knocked out of the 10 to say I got something done today, you know, and you
Yeah.
just keep going. You
Yeah.
just can't be too hard on yourself, and that's really my biggest problem. I'm really hard on myself. So
Yeah, having grace is, and I'm gonna talk about that too, because that's something I'm always
yeah.
preaching is have grace with
Yes,
yourself.
you always get it
Um,
right with that.
I did a keto, and
Yeah.
like no carbs,
How did that
no
go?
alcohol. I even cut out red meat. You're able to have red meat on the
Wow.
keto, but I decided that I wasn't having red meat for like a whole month, and
Yeah.
I did notice just a difference in how I felt, you
Yeah.
know, and then it's like oftentimes when you are like dieting or you're cutting things out, we're always like thinking about the things that we're giving up, but we never think
Yeah.
about the things that we're gaining. And
That's so
so
true.
one of the things for me when I started my keto was I told myself that I am going to approach this just in the most positive way that I could. Like, I'm not even going to think about all the things that I can't have. I'm going to think about the things that I can have, and the new things that I can eat. Girl, I learned so many recipes.
Yes. I was just about to ask
Like, I
you,
was
did you
baking
like
keto
take anything
cakes.
that you want to keep moving forward regularly with that?
Yeah, but
That's awesome.
it just made me feel it really, it definitely made me feel better. And by the time I was done with the keto, I didn't even miss like half the things that I gave up,
And I'm sure
honestly.
you felt
Like,
so much better without them. Yeah.
exactly.
Your system starts to not even be able to process foods like at all.
Right. I
Hmm.
agree. Dude, when did you realize that your mental health was getting better? And how often do check in with yourself?
Um, you know what? I really like. I mean, this may sound like cliche, but I really noticed my mental health was getting better because I started smiling. Like, I'm not really just a person to be like walking around smiling all day. And I started to like, you know, I would just randomly catch myself smiling, and like that's how I knew like what I was doing was working because I actually started feeling happier, and I really try to manifest that like through affirmations and stuff too. But yeah, I think that's when I really, you know, noticed and just how I felt, and even like I felt like I looked better too because when my mental health or when I'm going through like episodes is like really bad, I don't take care of myself. Like I don't do my hair. Like it gets bad, I don't clean up. It just gets bad. Like I won't make my bed. Like things that I would normally like get up and do, I just don't. Like I'll let the dishes pile up. Like I'll have
Mhm.
like two big sink loads of dishes. And then I don't know, I just noticed like, you know, I started having better habits, and it was really just a whole lot of small things that I just started doing. And then I kind of woke up one day and I'm like, whoa, like, you know, I'm really doing this. Like, I don't
Mhm.
have a sink full of dishes anymore. Like, I'm taking care of myself, you know, I'm being kinder to myself. And like
Yeah.
everything is getting taken care of, you know, little by little. I started doing things one thing at a time instead of trying to multitask all the time. And I didn't feel so scrambled, and I just had a lot more clarity. And when I reached that clarity, that's how I knew I was headed in the right direction.
We talk a lot about reflection in
Yeah.
our personal, you know, conversations. What does reflection look like for you? Like, what kind of questions do you ask yourself when you're like, you know, am I good?
Yeah, as far as reflection, I feel like it's really important, but reflection can also like make you mad, like because like when you really think back about things that trigger you and you're trying to work through and you know to be in a solution focused state, it's just so hard because like the natural like toxic things about yourself that you're still working on like come out. Like I'll think about something that made me really mad and I'll be like, okay, right now we're supposed to be working on solutions, and I'll just be sitting there like getting myself even more mad, replaying the situation over and over in my head, like I can't believe this. Like I'll start getting like hyped, and I'm like, whoa, I just need to like chill, like take a second if I'm like feeling like that and go back like, okay, why did this situation go like that? What can we do to prevent that from going like that in the future? You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
And how can we just stay locked into the present? Because I really feel like that's the key. You really just gotta stay locked into the present moment, and everything else just works itself out. You really can't be too worried about what happened in the past or what's going to happen in the future. You just gotta stay locked in, and you know,
right.
everything, you know, usually gets better from there. So I don't know. Reflection is hard though. It's really hard. And that's where meditation comes in, because reflection can make you angry and then meditation just clears your mind after. So yeah.
Yeah.
You can't do both at the same time at all.
Coming home to an organized house is actually good for your mental health. This is why I try my best to practice minimalism. I agree. You definitely feel like your mind feels a lot clearer when you are like when you just come into a clean home, you know, when you do like when I wake up every morning, like I make my bed.
Same.
That's one of the first things I do is I just make my
Absolutely.
bed. And
Yeah.
like you said, those small things, they really do make a
They
difference.
have a huge impact, seriously, because even just like the whole making your bed thing, like if you wake up and you make your bed, if you suffer from depression and a part of your problem is like you get in the bed and you just lay there all day, if you make your bed, you're not gonna like have, you might get in it anyway, but you're not gonna have this big of a urge if it's like all messy, you know, it just like looks like you could just
Hmm.
jump in, go to sleep. So you definitely got to make your bed. Anybody struggling with mental health, like still trying to be like in the like awareness stage, definitely just start making your bed.
Yeah, 100%.
And doing dishes as you go. Do dishes as you go.
Yeah, and
Don't let
just
them
like
pile up.
keeping, yeah, whatever room you spend the most time in, like, you know, for me, it's my office. I try
Yeah,
to keep it, I mean, I keep it very organized because for me, I can't be creative. I can't show up as my best self. Ideas don't flow if it's cluttered, if it's messy, you know? It
definitely.
definitely goes hand in hand. Reflection is great. Accountability is the best method to positive growth. Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. I feel like I was going to say that too. I feel like you know, oftentimes when we do reflect, especially like okay, let's say in a situation where someone has wronged us, right?
Yeah,
We're always like thinking about that person and what they did to us. But, you
exactly.
know, very little do we think about like the role that we played, if there was any role. And
Right.
so I think for us, you know, just I think in general, like we just have to like hold ourselves more accountable. Like, you know, it's in relationships, whether they're friendships or whether they're romantic relationships, we have to ask ourselves, like, you know, did we set boundaries? You know, did we honor our boundaries? Did we let this person stay, you know, way too long when we should have let
Yeah,
them go a long time ago? You know, like
yeah,
how did
definitely.
I show up for myself? How did I advocate for myself in this situation? You know, and what can I do moving forward to ensure that this doesn't happen again with this person or any other person?
That's so true. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, you really have to be honest with yourself when you're answering those questions too.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't
Um,
want to play victim.
I know you said that for you, reflection is hard, but as I always said, you have to practice grace.
You
So,
do.
what are some things that you're doing right now to practice grace with yourself?
You know what? I don't know. I've always been like a tomboy, and I really just started like listening to like the women in my family, like my loved ones, like they'll like try to tell me stuff like, you need routines, you need like a skincare routine, like you should take a bubble bath, like, so like I don't know, like I never like was into bath bombs. I got into bath bombs, like those are super cool. I'll be like sitting there in the bathtub, like sipping my wine in the
Yeah.
bathtub. I do stuff like that now. I never did stuff like that before. And I'm saying like I just started, I wanna say like last year. But
Hmm.
like in my whole life, like I never like did stuff like that. I really cracked down on like my skincare routine, like especially on Sundays. Like I try to at least do like a mask or like something that I don't do every single day for my skin. And that it just makes me feel better. Like if I just feel like everything is getting to be too much, like I take a break and I pause and I do something for myself. You know what I'm saying? And that just makes me feel so much better.
Yeah, definitely taking that
Yeah.
time for self,
Yeah.
super important, especially when you're a career girl because your
Man.
ambitions are, so big.
Yeah.
And oftentimes we're so hard on ourselves, because we
That's
have
so
these
true.
expectations of where we want to be, when we want to get there, how we want it to look. And if we
Yes.
feel like we're not moving at that pace or if things aren't looking the way we want it to look, we're so hard on ourselves. And it's just
Exactly.
like, entrepreneurship is a self thing, right? Your
It
business,
is.
your venture only does as good as you are.
That's so true.
So as long as you continue to take care of yourself, as long as you continue to prioritize your mental health and your self-care, like we said, it's a journey, but
It
as long as
is.
you prioritize it, you
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It makes the journey a lot easier,
it definitely
you
does. Yeah,
know?
you definitely have to
And
let go of perfectionism too.
absolute.
That one's
Woo!
hard.
Speak
That one's
on it.
hard.
Speak on it. Especially in the social media era, right? Where we're
Man,
only seeing the highlight reels, but we
yeah,
don't see the in betweens that people go through. So it's like, as women, just even before social media, women have historically been compared to one another. And social
yeah,
media just made it even worse, just to
it
put it in
did.
simple
Yeah,
terms,
it puts it like on a platform, like it's all in your face, and it's just like,
Exactly.
that's not right. It's just not
Right.
right. Yeah,
Yeah, but that's where we have to check in with ourselves, right? That accountability. Like, why do we feel like this? If we're
yeah.
looking at certain accounts and, we're triggered in some type of way, we have to ask ourselves those questions like, why are we
Like, why is this
triggered?
bothering me? Yeah,
Why is this
honestly,
bothering me? Because it's
yeah,
really it's not healthy. It's
it's not.
not healthy at all. So let's talk about some things that are healthy. Affirmations and mantras, right? You got me
Yes,
into affirmations and
yes.
mantras and saging.
They work. They work. I'm telling
Yeah,
you.
so why are affirmations so powerful to you?
For me, you know what it is. Like I said, I'm kind of a lone soldier. Like I do force myself to go interact because it's so good for your mental health. So like I do like literally put myself out of my comfort zone and go. I make myself okay. We have to go be around people for 2 hours. We're not gonna die. It's gonna be okay. We'll probably feel better. And like me,
Mhm.
like I'm in a habit of talking myself through things, and affirmations do exactly that for me. So I don't know, like just speaking like greatness over myself or like positive things over myself or just even things that I want from my businesses and like success over myself. It feels a lot better than
Mhm.
saying stuff like to down yourself. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like girls go through like that whole thing when they go in the store and try on clothes and like all even if you don't say it out loud, the stuff that goes through your mind when something doesn't look good on you, like I had to
Mhm.
like let all that hate self talk to myself. I had to let that go, and affirmations really helped me to do that, and it's definitely changed my life too.
100%.
Yeah,
Knowing your worth is the biggest flex.
girl.
That is the biggest flex. That is better than any car, any materialistic object. Like knowing your worth is definitely like the key to everything,
Exactly.
in my opinion. Because once you know your worth and you know your value, um, honestly, you're really untouchable.
That's so true.
You know, you're really untouchable as a woman because I feel like, um, as we mentioned, social media, society in general, you know, it makes women, it drives women crazy, you know?
Yeah,
Either you're
it
too
does.
skinny or you're too thick or you're too tall or you're too short or it's long hair or it's short hair. It's just
Honestly, someone is always gonna have something to say about you, so you might as well do what makes you happy. Honestly,
exactly. And love yourself.
you have to.
One,
You
love
have to.
yourself.
Man.
Love
You don't know
yourself.
how, you gotta go try to learn, you know what I'm saying? But definitely start with
Absolutely.
doing more of what makes you happy.
Absolutely. And I always tell people like there's something that you offer to this world that no one else offers. You know, there's a reason that you're here. You know, when I went through a phase too where, you know, I was really sad and I was really going through it. And, you know,
Yeah.
I used to be like, oh my gosh, like, why did I wake up today? You know,
Right.
like,
Yeah.
and I'm laughing, but it was a very like dark time. But I started telling myself like, Anna, there's a reason why you're here. You know, that
Yeah.
is not by coincidence. There's a reason why you're here. There's a purpose for you in this lifetime, and God placed you here in this very moment for a
For
reason.
a reason,
So
yeah.
either you are going to, you know, press into that purpose, or, you know, you're going to go left. And, you know, it's I definitely feel like knowledge of self and loving yourself is definitely the key. Every now and then I deactivate my IG for mental health, helps so much. Yeah, a lot of people do that. They take social media breaks.
Yeah.
I think that is
I've done that for years before. And
yeah,
that's just why I struggle
same.
with social media now. So but you know what?
Same.
I feel better. Like I tell myself like even if I'm not as far as I want to be on social media yet, all I have to do is be consistent with that. And it's just like at least I feel better on the inside. You know, I'm living my life in real life. A lot of people
Absolutely.
forget to do that part. You know what I'm saying? So
Absolutely. And another thing we have to do is also be realistic because a lot of the time, the people who you may compare yourselves to, they're on like chapter 50. You know what I'm saying? When
yeah,
meanwhile, we're on chapter 3, trying to look like we're on chapter 50. It doesn't work
yeah,
like that. You know, like it's a journey, and everybody's journey does not look the same.
that's so true.
You know, as long as you are doing what you need to do and you're showing up for yourself and you're showing up for your audience or whatever it is that you're doing, the success that you're looking for cannot miss you. But also, you have to
Yeah,
ask yourself why you're doing what you're doing as well,
you do. You
right?
definitely do.
Because if you're just doing things just for the likes and just for the comments, I mean, we all want to feel, you know, valued, and the likes, they
Yeah,
do feel good. But if that's the only reason why you're doing something, then you have to check your motives. You
you
have to
do.
really check your heart.
No, definitely. And then, I mean, you know, you also go through the phase of like, you know, finding your people. You know what I'm saying? Like, if people aren't
Absolutely.
reacting to your content, they're probably just not your people. You can't take
Yeah,
everything so personally, you know? So, like, there's beauty in like social media and finding like your community, who you're talking to, who resonates with you. And, you know, you get to meet a lot of cool people from all over the world. So that's a part of
absolutely.
it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's why it's important to love yourself and show up as your authentic self, though.
you have to. You have to.
Estelle is
Yeah.
so funny. She said, we think they're on chapter 50 because sometimes that's what they want us to portray false. That's
Hey,
what they want to portray false, so you just never know. That's true too, right? Sometimes people are just flexing for the gram
that's so
and you're
true.
comparing yourself to them, and meanwhile you don't even know what's going on behind closed doors.
Yeah,
That's very true as well. Grass isn't always greener on the other side.
it's
Absolutely.
not. It's
Yeah.
not.
But that's why it's important just to run your race, right? And stay your course
Exactly.
and focus on what it is that you're doing. I think that's really important just as an entrepreneur in general. You know, just
Definitely.
mental wellness for entrepreneurship is run your race and stay your
Yeah,
course. Don't look left, don't
exactly.
look right. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being inspired with people, but don't get consumed with what everybody else is doing around you because that's not your calling. That's not what
Yeah,
you're, you know, that's not what you're working on. Do what you got to do.
No,
And
definitely. No,
yeah.
I saw a post the other day, and it was like, it's okay to, take in what people are telling you, but it's also okay to just be like, nah, like,
Yeah,
it's okay.
absolutely.
You know what I'm
You
saying?
have to be very mindful of just the things that you're receiving, you know, knowing
That's so
what's good
true.
for you and knowing what's not good for you, you know?
Definitely.
Yes, absolutely. And can you share some of you're like the affirmations queen and the mantra queen.
Uh,
So can you share, you've shared so many affirmations that have really helped me. Can you share some with the
uh,
audience?
I got you. You know what I'm saying? I have so many. So I will share a few with you. One thing I say over myself is I have all the tools that I need to succeed. I also, as far as my business, I kind of separate my affirmations into categories, but another one I say for my business is I'm building wealth for generations. Um, Another one I say is I choose to respond to life's difficulties with compassion and love. Um, and then I also say I have an overwhelming amount of motivation, creativity, and discipline, and my energy and influence radiates instantaneously from soul to soul.
Amen. I love those. I
Thank you.
love those. I love those. The first one is my favorite one. Like, and we all say it differently, but just that message of everything that I need to succeed is already within me.
Exactly.
Like, I always
Gotta bring it
tell
out of you.
people, right? I
Yeah.
always tell people, like, God is never going to put something on your heart, a desire that you have, a business idea that you have, you know, or a
Yeah.
goal that you have is not a coincidence. There is a reason why you are, you know, thinking about this business idea or thinking about this specific goal, because that is a part of your purpose. And another thing we have to understand too is our purpose can be multiple things, right? You can be an
Exactly.
entrepreneur, a photographer, a mom, a chef. You can be all of those things as well.
Exactly.
But those things that are placed on your heart are not by coincidence. They are your purpose. And God gave you that vision because He's equipped you with everything you need to fulfill that vision. And that's
Definitely.
why it's important to press into your inner self and your self worth. Because once you know who you are and you know what you bring to the table, girl,
Exactly.
go with that.
You have to. No, definitely. You
That's
have to.
all you need. And just
Yeah.
continue to show up. That's the thing with people. We don't stay in the thick of things too long.
Yeah.
You know, like when the numbers aren't looking the way we want it to look, you know, when we're not getting like the followers or the views, or
Yeah.
things don't look as pretty, or we feel like we don't know everything that we need to learn, like, well, how you think you're gonna learn it?
Definitely.
By living it, by doing
Exactly. You
it,
have to
by
go
making
through
mistakes, by continuing to show up every day. It's like school, it's a
it.
graduation,
It is.
right? You graduate from one level to the next and you keep going and you keep pushing. And that's really what life is. Um,
Definitely.
all right, so vibing daily. We know
Yes.
you're new to the Instagram world, but as
Yes.
far as vibing daily, talk to us about it. What is it, and why do you? Is that my little best friend in the background?
Yes, it is. He is jumping around here.
He's so cute. Yeah, talk to us about vibing daily. What is it?
Vibing Daily is basically a platform. I really started it on Snapchat, and I just more recently moved to Instagram. So I still post it on Snapchat every day, and I'm moving into posting on Instagram every day. But it's where I share affirmations, mantras, positive quotes, just anything to like good little messages that you just need like whispered in your ear. You know what I'm saying? I post at 5:30 in the morning, so it just helps set the tone for your day. And yeah, you guys can feel free to subscribe to it. I post it on my personal Instagram, which is just Cam, JSTCAAAM. So it's JSTC3A's M. And yeah, you guys can, feel free to interact with that. But yeah, I post it every day. I started it about a year ago, and I don't know, my following is like super supportive. Like they also help me so much in my mental health journey, because there's times like when I get depressed and like I won't post for 2 days and people are like, where's the vibes at? Like, where are the vibes? And like, they're making me
Right.
like hold myself accountable and like show up for myself. And you know,
Yeah.
it's my platform, so you know, I really need to take it seriously. And they inspire me every day to do that. So
Absolutely. That's another thing with entrepreneurship too. Like once you put yourself out there,
yes,
you don't even realize the people that you're inspiring and the people that are watching you. They might not always comment, they might not always like, but they do recognize when your presence is missing.
that's
So
so.
absolutely. Any additional advice, any tips, anything that you just want to say as it relates to women and mental health?
I would say, you know what I'm saying? You don't just like wake up and live your best life. It's all of like the small little things that, you know, eventually add up to it, and you just wake up and, you know, you're doing better and you're living it. So I would definitely say, you know, do you know, more of what makes you happy, and you know, just lay your brick every day. Just lay your one brick every day, and don't put too much pressure on yourself to be perfect, because none of us are perfect, and we're all going through it, and we're all trying to be better. So
Absolutely. Perfect.
surround yourself with people who are trying to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
We don't
100.
have no time for those low vibrational vibes in 2021. Okay,
Yes. No
at
low
all,
vibrational people, please.
at all.
Well, thank you so much for your
Hey,
time.
girl, anytime.
Thank you for just being candid. You know, like
I got
talking
you.
about mental health is not easy. And I really wanted to have a conversation, you know, with someone who I know would be very open and candid. And I knew that
Thank
that would
you.
be you. I'm just really appreciative, honestly.
Yeah,
I know that
anytime.
I love talking about the bossing up, right? I love giving women tips on how to level up, how to boss up as entrepreneurs and career women.
Yeah,
But as I said before, if we're not right, nothing that we can do and nothing that we're doing will be right,
it'll
right? Because
crumble.
our
Yeah,
businesses, our aspirations, our goals are nothing without us. So we have to be good before we chase after our goals. That's number
exactly.
one. That should always be number one. And then on top of
Always.
that, if you're not taking care of yourself and you want to accumulate all this money, girl, if you on bed rest by the age of 50,
Right. You made all this money for no
you know what I'm
reason.
saying?
You
Are
didn't
you
get
in
to
and out of the
enjoy it.
hospital?
Yeah.
You know, so we definitely
You
have to
really you
continue
really
to take
gotta
care.
invest in yourself, and that includes, you know, your mental health. Like people, you
Absolutely.
know, they want to invest in their business, but I mean, you gotta invest in the boss behind it, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like, you know, as women, ambitious women, we have to continue to do the inner work that we need, you know, to heal, and just to show up as our best selves continuously.
Exactly.
Inside and outside. So I think conversations like this are definitely necessary. And I'm really happy that we're bringing it to live, you know, to show other women that, you know, it doesn't have to be a secret. We could talk about these things. There's nothing wrong with therapy. There's nothing wrong
Exactly.
with anxiety. There's nothing wrong with depression. You are not crazy. You are a
You're not.
woman.
If you
You
need
are
therapy,
human.
please go get you some therapy. Okay, don't let nobody
Yes.
tell you not to get therapy. I saw this thing, and it said people go to therapy to deal with people who don't go to therapy, and I feel like that's so true. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? Like you can't honestly say in all these years of life that you've never been through anything. You don't know just how much these things have, you know, traumatized you. And you know, when you learn about it, it's power in that you can move forward from it instead of just carrying it on your shoulders.
Definitely follow Cam. She is new to Instagram, but she's an amazing
I
creative
love it.
director, an amazing photographer, and I cannot wait to see how things continue to blossom with you and your business ventures.
Thank you so much, guys. That you definitely have to follow. We got some dope photo shoots coming soon, so they will be posted in the next month.
Thank you again. I love you. We will definitely chat offline and
Love
have a
you too,
great day,
girl.
everyone. Thank you for spending your lunch break with us.
Thank you. Take care.
Later.
Later.